Welcome back, friends. Today we are sitting virtually from my dining room and looks like a hotel room somewhere with an actor, this time not an on TV, but an on stage actor. Welcome to the show, Bryan. Is it Munar?
No, you got it
Dude.
right.
Yes, thank you. Where are you recording from right now?
I'm recording from Mason City, Iowa, Northern
Oh,
Iowa.
killer. So you're
Yes,
already in the Midwest and you are
already.
playing the role of Orpheus in
I-
Hadestown, which is coming to Eau Claire. Right now it's Friday. You guys are going to be here Tuesday.
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, for 3 days, it looks like you guys are
Uh-huh.
performing. So when did this whole thing start? You started what, October?
So we started rehearsals in early September,
Okay.
and we kicked off the tour October 3rd, I believe. I think it was our first public performance.
That's a
And
quick turnaround from like when you start working on the role to when you guys get on the road. Only a month?
yes, so we only spent about 2 weeks in the room rehearsing, and then we went straight into tech, which is the process to like set up the lights and like test all the sound and all that stuff. And then we just jumped straight into the tour. Yeah.
Wow. And you've been acting for 5-ish years, right? Is this the first time you've been like the main? I know there's like a bunch of lead roles, but like one of the lead roles on a pretty big production that's touring nationally?
Yes. It's my first principal contract. It's my first tour. So a lot of firsts for me. And it's been nothing short of a dream come true. It's been really awesome getting to like lead a company and also do a show that means so much to people and especially me.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's pretty pretty sick.
Has it been overwhelming? I feel like that's a lot of weight on your shoulders, right? Because I know you went to college and you were going that traditional route, and then you were like, no, I want to do something that I really enjoy and care about. But it's a lot
Yeah.
of pressure. You know what I mean? Not only are you like in front of a lot of people in one room trying to do it, but you have your whole team of everyone kind of on your back, like depending on you. That's a lot to deal with.
It's a lot to do with, but also like I have the best team in the world. Like everybody's supportive, everybody's such a team player. And on bad days, on good days, everyone strives to uplift each other. So I really do feel grateful. Um, yeah, and the pressure gets better over time. Like I think I definitely felt that a lot in the beginning. But once I got the show down and understood, it's kind of like the way I describe it is like doing reps and like working out your body.
Yeah.
If it takes, like 20 reps at 50 pounds to do Hadestown well, I probably started at like I could only maybe do like 12 at 50. Now I can do like 30,
And
I
now you
think.
have to do like 100, right? How many shows do you have? Because it's 3 shows in Eau Claire, but when I looked at the list of cities, there was like, I don't know, 20. I mean, how many cities, how many shows are you doing in this run?
Gosh, I think from what I remember, some of our cast members did the math, but I think it's going to be around 220
Whoa.
or
And that's like pretty
more.
much every day, right?
8 shows a week around.
8 shows a week?
Hmm.
Whoa.
Yes. And so keeping yourself healthy and pacing yourself mentally, physically, emotionally is like super important
What have you
for the.
found that works for you to like maintain not only like your voice, because I know you sing a lot. It's one thing to project your voice. I know you have a mic, but it's one thing to project your voice for the talking parts, but a lot of it's singing. How do you
Yeah.
maintain that? I know a lot of music artists, they don't do more than like 3, 4 shows in a row because their voice, it's like impossible to keep.
Yeah. I pray to God and be like, please. But also I'm just lucky that the role, like it's not difficult for me to do the show. If I really wanted to like maintenance is not the hard part. It's the endurance. So it's kind of like, can you work out every day for 45 minutes doing the same workout? So you have to kind of cater the workout to your body. And once I learned how to do that with the show, now I can really kind of fine tune like when on a day like I need to really conserve and on a day that I can really go a little more all out. So like as performers, it's our job to kind of like keep our livelihood and keep our instrument in shape in that way. So I would say it's not ooh, my alarm just went off. It's not difficult for me in a traditional sense of like I blow out my voice every night because that's not what I do. And that's not what I try to do, rather than like maybe like somebody who goes on a like a two show week, like an arena tour, where
Right.
you kind of have to give that energy full out and then maybe not talk for the next 2 days.
Sure.
It's a kind of a different kind of workout.
Yeah. Plus, you have a whole team of people. You're not in every scene as the star of every scene, right? Like
Yeah,
you have so many songs. How many songs do you perform in as like the main
like
person?
I don't even count. There's at least six or seven,
Okay.
I think. Solo, because there's the three epics. There's a duet, a solo at the end, a number at the end of Act One. So that's already seven that I can kind of count off the top of my head that like are led by me. Um,
Which one is your favorite to perform and why?
oh, lately, it's been Wait for me. It's the one that everybody gravitates towards. It's the one that kind of I feel like is like kind of the calling card of Hadestown. It's like the hit, like the pop hit. And I like it because it's a satisfying sing. And also like lately I've been kind of thinking about like longing and this idea of yearning. And I didn't realize how well that song captures it and why probably people resonated with so much because the emotion attached to it and the melody, like the prosody of the thing is just so powerful. And I
I don't
think,
know. Sorry, keep going.
yeah, and I think I just put that aside because I was like, oh, like it's the hit. Like I never really thought too much about it because of its popularity. I just said it's really popular. But like I think doing the show and like really listening to the intent, it's such a simple song. But every night it makes me like want to think about like how do I add myself more to this and how do I like, what am I longing for in my life that I can add and breathe life into this moment so that, the audience can also feel that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, that leads in the question of you're performing something that obviously has been performed by a lot of different people, right? Of like various levels of success. So when you go on YouTube and you look it up, or if people have gone and seen it on Broadway in New York or whatever, they have a vision of who Orpheus is.
Mhm.
How do you play a role where you feel like it's your own, like you bring your own voice and your own take on the role when the role is already really spelled out for you? How much like wiggle room is there? How do you not just fall into trying to replicate somebody else?
That's a good question. Um, Inherently, it is impossible for us to replicate somebody else. I don't look like Reeve. I don't look like Jordan. I don't look like Carlos, the new person who's on Broadway right now. So by nature, I could essentially try to copy everything that they do, but because the way it's kind of like saying like if a viola copies a violin, is it going to sound the same?
Right.
And inherently not. They can sing the same notes. They can, you know, have the same inflections, but the product of the sound or the product of like what happens will just by nature be different. So actually in my performance, like I really like I'm a fan of Reeves and I'm a fan of Jordan's and I like to like study different Orpheuses and like kind of mix and match the choices that I've learned and also like stuff that I've come up with on my own because it's such a well-oiled machine. I think there's don't fix what ain't broke. So like if there's a moment that I really enjoy and I want to put that into the show, like I'll do it. But also like leaving room to grow and do more do different things every night to discover more things. I think that's the kind of the secret alchemy of making a performance that is originally me, just trusting that I am just me.
Right.
Um, and I think a lot of younger performers don't like it's hard to understand that because I
Hard
was there too,
hard to have
where
the confidence, right?
hard to
Because
have the confidence and also hard to, wrap your mind around something that is inherently so kind of like woo-woo,
yeah,
but so hard to teach that to people. It's hard to teach kind of like this like introspective kind of lesson to people who are still trying to find themselves. And now that I'm a little bit more on that path of like self-assurance in myself, um, I can kind of like bring that to the things that I do, but it's still definitely a difficult thing. And so, yeah, like I guess that's my answer. It's like by nature, copying is going to be hard,
right.
but yeah, because I can copy all I want if I wanted to. But at the
Right.
end of the day, like my voice is going to be my voice and it's not going to sound the same.
Yeah. Well, and you're
So,
not going to be, that's not how you become great, right?
no,
That's how
but
you
also
become acceptable.
Also, good artists borrow and great artists steal. I don't know if you
Yeah.
heard that
Yeah.
um, kind of platitude or mantra, but I'm a sole believer in like, I mean, there's nothing really new under the sun. It's just kind of like morphed interpretations of things that already exist. And so that's also a kind of freeing thought.
Yeah. The way that I think of it is because I'm a painter. I do a
Oh,
lot of,
really amazing.
yeah, I paint a lot of murals and stuff in my town. So maybe if you guys have time, like point them out because we have a lot of cool art in Eau Claire. So you'll have to check it out. But one thing I
What?
tell people is great artists, they've taken from somewhere, you just can't tell where. And it's usually because they're pulling a little bit from here, a little bit from here, a little bit from here, and there may not be in your immediate circle. You may be pulling from something way out. and you can't tell where they took all these ideas to meld into this new idea came from, but they had to come from somewhere. People don't really come up with something totally out of nothing. They don't sit in a room completely like in the dark where they're just recording their thoughts and try to come up with something totally new. Okay, so
Yeah.
talking about live performance, right? Nowadays, everyone has Netflix, everyone has HBO Max, everybody has all these platforms where like entertainment, there's unlimited things for them to watch. They'll never run out. There's more stuff being loaded up to the websites every day than they have time to watch. What is still the appeal to live performance? Why do people still go to see
Hmm.
performances like this live?
There's nothing like the chemistry and kind of like the dynamic nature of what a cast can do on stage that a recorded performance can't bring. There's a newness, there's like a presence that you have to kind of be met with when you're doing a live performance, which is why concerts are so beautiful, which is why theater is so beautiful because, and apparently, when people are in the theater, their heartbeats like sync. I think that was like a study done. Like
Wow.
you go through the same journey together that you wouldn't um, watching just like a movie at home alone. And you kind of buckle into the ride that like you consent to when you buy that ticket. And that kind of magnetism, that kind of like spontaneity in storytelling, I think is what, is so infectious with the theater.
Yeah,
Regardless whether you like it or not, like you're gonna have an opinion
right.
about the show that you see, and so will the audience. And so I think that's like really what is kind of like magnetic about it, and something that like excites me too as a performer is because I get a chance to do it every night and see what happens. Just as
Yeah.
the audience gets to see it every night and see what happens.
So people are gonna come and see it. Hopefully, at least one of the
Hopefully.
three. What is your, if you had to give a quick 60
Sorry.
second pitch of the story? Obviously, it's pretty hard to condense a two-ish hour. It's right, 2 hours or so.
2.5 hours, yeah.
It's hard to condense 2.5 hours into 60 seconds. If you had to try to tell the story of what this is so people are intrigued, how do you do that?
Cool. So 60 seconds. It's two intertwining Greek myths, Hades and Persephone, Orpheus and Eurydice, kind of this new budding love and an old ancient love that kind of stands the test of time. And it tells the story of how, Orpheus falls in love with Eurydice and stuff happens that I can't really give away yet, and he has to go save her from the underworld. It's a tale of testing doubt, hope, the what stands the test of time. Is it love? Is it, your own perception of the world? And also just kind of like a hopeful message to kind of incite the audience members to see the world the way that they intended they want to see it in whatever way, shape, or form that you believe that to be in. So in Orpheus's case, to see a world that is in tune, that is free, that is open, that is filled with life and music. And it's all wrapped in this like beautiful New Orleans jazz folk inflected score written by Anais Mitchell, Grammy Tony award winning score. And yeah, and you're just gonna have to come and see it to see all the little surprises and all the little things.
So, for all the little surprises, I'm just curious about this. When you perform at different places all the time, I'm sure you guys have semi trucks or whatever full of all of the stage, right? That the stagehands assemble so that way you have generally the same thing you're performing in every night. But
Yes.
you must still have to adjust to different stages and theaters day after day. Like,
Oh,
how do you do that without it throwing things off? Even just the cues of where you would stand, I gotta think are slightly different.
well, we have an amazing crew and stage management team who does the best to really kind of keep that consistency with our show. And honestly, it hasn't been that different. The stage is the same. I would say the stage and the way things are is pretty consistent. So we don't have to do a lot of work. We just have a really great team who does their best to make sure that every stage that we perform in is regulated to how we do the show. And yeah, but honestly, like there's like really no like big complaints. Like sometimes like the lights maybe are closer, sometimes like the stage is like smaller, but the general playing space is the same. You just got to be careful sometimes depending on how big or small the theater is.
Well, yeah, especially when you have 10 people running around interweaving with each other. You know what I
Right.
mean? You see it in football, people running into each other on accident. You would think that would happen periodically on
But the
stage.
actual stage space does not change, if that makes
Sure.
sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
So that if you want to look at it in terms of that way, like it's the same every day.
Sure.
there hasn't been a theater where, and I think our show is designed to fit in every theater that we're going to be in. So it's catered to the smallest.
Yeah, it's like very intentional in that kind of way.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, I got one more question for you. So, when you're touring all over the country, I'm sure you get to have really unique experiences. What is your favorite memory, whether it was discovering some random coffee shop, whether it was like
Mm.
going out with a bunch of friends afterwards for sushi, or what is your favorite memory so far from this tour?
There's already been a lot. I would say when we went to Mexico, that was really amazing. Look, I don't know if we're gonna get crowds like that. Like they were so happy, so open, so inviting to our story. Like they just accepted us with open arms, and we were met with such, uproarious aplomb that like we were just so floored. I think we got emotional, like one of those bows, like they would not stop clapping, and we all looked at each other and we were like, got really teary-eyed because we're just like, I can't believe that, people care enough to see this and people really are resonating with this thing that we call our job and that we want to spend our life doing. And there was a place there called, I forgot it already. It's like this old town or an old like preserved street in Monterrey, Mexico. I already forgot the name about it. Already forgot the name of it, but it was just you just see like I love seeing history and I love seeing things that kind of make a place. And you know what? It's gonna bug me, so I'm gonna look at what this thing is called so that people don't think I'm uncultured. Old town. Okay, yes. It's called the Barrio Antiguo, which is like basically like I think that just means antique or old neighborhood. And it's just like this preserved like old town Monterrey where like you just see like different colors of the houses, like they just like restore, they don't like touch it. There's a bunch of stores there and like the locals love to, hang out there. And if you've ever like been to like a quaint like little town, like a preserved town, almost like an old town Edinburgh.
Yeah.
Oh God, like that was just so magical just getting to like be there. You can just feel in the air that like there's something special here because they preserve this history. So that was like that's one. And another like silly one probably is in Eugene, Oregon. There's like this Christmas market. It's such an eclectic, weird Christmas market. Like everything under the sun was sold there. And I found this guy who made custom Carhartt sweatshirts. And I don't purchase a lot of things on tour, but I spent a lot of money for him to make me a custom Carhartt sweatshirt. And I'm so glad I found him because it's one of like my most treasured like pieces of clothing. Because everyone's like, where did you get that? Like I want one. I was like, you can't get one because it's custom made.
That's
So
incredible.
I really ate there. I really
Wow. Yeah. I mean, when you get to travel, you get to see a lot of different things. And it's crazy how much all that stuff starts to blend together, which is too bad because when you're in the moment, you're like, I've never seen anything like this. And
oh
then
without
you're like, I've never seen anything like this, and it just like continues. Well, I'm excited for you to come to Eau Claire. Excited to kick it in a couple of days. This is going to be cool.
can't wait to meet you and I can't wait. Like this has been so lovely. And
Yes.
I love interviews, so I honestly can't wait.
Thank you for joining us for this episode of The Passion Pod. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. We'll see you soon.